It has been a couple weeks since we found out we're having a little boy, and I may have already started a baby quilt for him. As of filming this right now, I am 23 weeks pregnant, so we're over halfway and just absolutely excited to meet him. And I have been so full of inspiration to make him things, it's actually kind of crazy. Now that my craft room is clear, I think this is a great time to start on a baby boy quilt. I am going to designate a corner of this room towards him. We're going to put a changing table in there and just kind of decorate it, and that's going to be my mini nursery. But I've kind of decided that the theme I want to go with for his little nursery and for our baby shower is Hobbit-y. I didn't really want to go the entirety of Lord of the Rings. I love Lord of the Rings, but I kind of figured it was a little heavy and dark to go with the entirety of Lord of the Rings for a baby. But I think a Shire Hobbit theme is just the most homey, cute thing for a little baby boy, and I'm super excited to do some projects that are very on theme. So I figured I should probably make him a Hobbit-esque quilt. I'm not going to go super into Tolkien stuff. I've just gathered some fabrics that I think are kind of along the lines of Hobbit. Mostly just greens and browns, what's new here, and kind of a warm off-white, and I'm just going to call it a Hobbit quilt. Something you might find in a Hobbit hole, pretty much. Most of the fabrics here that I'm going to be putting into the quilt are from my fabric stash. Most of them are much smaller scraps, which I'm super excited to use. I did buy a handful of quarter yards just to kind of supplement. Cleaning this room kind of made me realize how many really pretty fabrics I already have, and how much I already have. I did technically already start on this. I have a few blocks here. I'm just going to do about 100 million of these star blocks. So we've got the normal and the inverse, and I've got two of each of them in varying colors. So there's the brown one and here's the green one. Because I've already started, I can't show you an entire ensemble of all the fabrics that I did pull. I forgot to photograph that before I started cutting, but I kind of have one of most of the fabrics here. You kind of get the vibe, it's all greens and browns. I love it so much. But yeah, I already kind of spent some time cutting out and sewing some of these blocks. I just wanted to get a head start because, as I said, there are going to be so many blocks in this quilt. I just really wanted to make sure I had enough time, and I was super inspired, so I just started already. I think I have 8 blocks here out of 64, so I have a ton more to sew. I don't have an insane amount of time today, but I figured I would do some cutting and get us started on this Hobbit quilt. I still have 14 out of the 32 different fabric prints to cut out, but I think I'm going to just switch it up a little bit. I feel like doing some sewing today, and since it's my project and I make the rules, that's what we're going to do. The cutting will happen eventually, just give it a second. I just love this block. Look at, I don't know if you can see, but there is a tiny little mouse with berries on the white, and it's so pretty. And this kind of brown paisley reminds me of hot chocolate or mocha. It's just so pretty. It makes me really happy. I actually used this brown in a shirt for Cross when we were still engaged, and I just can't wait till our baby is old enough where I can sit down with him and kind of go through some of the fabrics on his quilt and point out like what I've made with them before, because there's so many good times and good memories tied with all of these scraps, and I can't wait to share that with him eventually. I promise I won't rant over all of my blocks, but that one's special. So I actually didn't get a boatload of sewing done yesterday. Cross wanted to get a project done at the workshop, and since we try to spend Sundays together, I decided that I would just pack up my stuff and get some cutting done in his company so that we wouldn't have to be apart for the whole day. I got quite a bit done. I think I only have 4 or 5 fabrics left to cut. I have a couple free hours today before I need to go anywhere. I need to pick up Cross. We're actually going to an appointment for baby later on, but I have a couple hours. I am going to devote them just to sewing. I'm going to put on a podcast and just kind of start making my way through all these star blocks. finished my 32nd star block, which means we are officially halfway through making all of the blocks for this quilt. I think what I want to do now is kind of just lay it out on the floor, take a look at everything together so far. I think that would be very inspiring, and we'll be able to get an idea for how big it will actually be. We will take away a couple inches for seam allowance, but you know, just a ballpark estimate of the size I think would be really cool. I am going to lay it out 8 blocks by just the 4 so we can get exactly half a quilt. So this is kind of the idea of what it's going to look like. Lots of greens and browns, and I think I totally would believe you'd find this in a Hobbit hole, so it's fulfilling the criteria just great. It is a little more colorful than I thought it would be. Like, there's a lot of difference in all of the tones, which I didn't see as much when I was putting all of the fabrics together. I'm kind of hoping that pulling in the rest of the prints that are kind of within the family will kind of solidify it a little more. I don't think I've introduced too many other different shades. So I guess we'll see if it tones it down at all. If it doesn't, I'm still not mad. I think it's super pretty. It's just a little surprising. It's not exactly what I expected. The lighting is super intense right now, but that is 5 rows out of 8. I didn't end up mixing in this last row at all. These are just all kind of the same fabrics, just because I'm about to pick it all up and stack it in a pile, as I think I'm calling it for the day. I think I got 14 star blocks done today, which is really good. It's almost 2 rows. Part of me wants to say that I can do 24 blocks tomorrow and just finish the whole thing. The other part of me knows that I still have like 6 fabrics to cut out. No, 7 I think. And I don't think I can sit and sew for that long. So I'm thinking tomorrow I'd like to finish cutting all of the pieces out and then maybe do 1 row. I think I can do 8 blocks plus all of the cutting. And then we'll focus maybe Friday on finishing all of the blocks. Wish me luck. Same outfit as yesterday because it is comfy and cozy and I think it looks cute. But it is in fact a new day and I just finished cutting all of my prints. That was 32 different fabrics if my math is correct, and I am so glad to be done cutting all of the front pieces. I will have to cut the back, but that'll come in a little bit. I'm not worrying about that for now. I don't have an excessive amount of time today, but I think I'm just going to try to get as many as I can done, and hopefully we'll have this quilt pieced by the weekend. Let's start sewing. Two out of 24, the countdown is on. 4 blocks in this massive tower of fabrics. Oh my gosh, guys. That was so much work. I'm really happy to have all of them done though. I think it's gonna be super duper cute. I showed Cross a picture of when I laid them out on the floor here, and he thought that it needed a border, like a thin border, and he also said he thought there was gonna be more green in it. And I do think the border is a fantastic idea, and I think for him, I'm gonna make it green. I'm gonna look through my scrap fabrics to see if I have enough of anything to do like a finished 2-inch border around the whole thing. I'd love to do this green here. It's like kind of an olive color. It's my favorite out of all of them. I think I'm actually going to pick that out before I lay out my blocks again, just so that I don't put any of the blocks that have the border fabric right next to the border. I've also decided to do something a little wild with the backing fabric. This is what I was planning to use because it's what I have on hand. This is 100% linen. It used to be a duvet cover when Cross and I first got married, so I thought it would be the cutest thing to include on the back of our first baby's quilt. It's a typical linen color, which I do like in general, but for the backs of quilts, it's not the best idea, especially when they're going to a baby. So, another one of Cross's recommendations was to dye the back, which, assuming I look it up and find it's not super harmful during pregnancy, I do plan to dye a piece of this to be that kind of olive green, and we'll back it with that. I've never done stovetop dyeing like this before. I'm just gonna try and use the RIT dye, but I don't think I mind if it turns out super streaky. It's kind of the back, and it'll be kind of textured and cool. So I think that's definitely what I'm going to be doing with the back. I just wanna cut out the small piece so I can only just dye that. Well, I tried closing the blinds because the lighting, although very nice, was really messing with the colors. So this is definitely not the final layout. There's like 4 browns in a row over here, and I don't like that. Among other things that I just want to kind of swap around the block. But these are our border options. As I said, I really like this green one here. I'm thinking that probably will tie in the quilt well enough with the darker. On the other hand, if we take the darker out of the picture, this guy looks really good too. But at the moment, I think I'm going to take the blocks with both of these prints in them and just move them away from the edge so that they wouldn't be touching either way. And we'll see if I can find a layout that I like with that. we have all of the blocks sewn together. I did not quite make it to the borders. I do have them cut out here, so I think I'm just going to sew them together and attach them to this in order to hopefully quilt this tomorrow. I did manage to pull my dyed stuff out of the dryer, which I'm super excited about. Firstly, this is my sweater. It turned out really, really good. It used to be this beige color that just did not look good on my skin tone at all. And now it's this really nice, kind of muted olive green, and I love it so much. And then this is our linen, which turned out really well as well. I love the color overall. It's gorgeous, and I think it's gonna look fantastic as the back of this quilt. It definitely dyed a little patchier than the sweater, but that's okay. As I said, I'm okay with it being a little more variant on the back. I think it's gonna look really cool. Very kind of mossy, so it's gonna be perfect. Okay, I'm about to go into longarm this quilt, and I just wanted to kind of go over the plan real fast. The design I'd like to use is one that I used for my Christmas quilt I did about a year ago. I believe it's called Sparkling Dreams by the Quilting Mill on Instagram and Etsy. I absolutely love this design. It is so proportional and it stitches out so fast. I believe it's already on the longarm computer, so I should be able just to plug that in and get it stitched out real fast. I have got a solid couple hours left of hand stitching this binding to go, but I think this is probably where I will sign off my video. I'm super excited to see how this quilt crinkles up. As I said, like 80% of this quilt is made from scraps in my own stash, which means that definitely a handful of these fabrics have already been washed before and pre-shrunk. So we might get some amount of variation on how crinkly this gets in what areas, but I think because the batting is completely new and unwashed, it should even out the entire thing and not make it look too wonky. Overall, I am ecstatic about this quilt. All of the colors make me so happy. It's green and brown, you can't go wrong. And I really think it does come across as a Hobbit-esque quilt without being like in-your-face Lord of the Rings theme. I think you can totally find this in Bag End. Pretty proud of myself for throwing this together, and it is a simple pattern, but I'm really, really proud of how it worked out. If there are any crafty people watching me or beginner quilters that would be interested in a kind of fun tutorial on how to make this quilt, I'd love to know in the comments. This was simple enough where I think I could kind of do a vlog-y tutorial on how to make it and give you guys more specifics on what fabric you need, what pieces to cut, how to assemble it, etc. And I have enough people in my life that are having babies where I can totally see myself doing this again and giving a little bit more of an in-depth how-to description of it. I hope you have all the fun in the world making things with your hands this week, and thank you so much for watching this video. I hope to see you in my next one, and with that, here is my son's Hobbit-themed quilt.